This is our Voices of the Year part of the program, which is super emo and amazing. And so I want to be sure that we give all these women their due and give them a moment to tell you about the impact they've had over the past 12 months. So, Voices of the Year. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about what this program is. We started Voices of the Year about 12 years ago, BlogHer did, and the concept was that we all learn about amazing women every day, and if we can take the moment to honor those people and introduce them to others, then their good and their wonder will, we hope, spread much further. We started with content that was mostly digitally based. It was content that people were producing and publishing to the web. Now we've branched into documentary films, books. We have the mayor of Compton here, whose work is certainly content-based, but also is a whole bunch of advocacy. Likewise, we have advocates who have changed policy and who have raised issues around health, who have raised awareness around health issues. So we're gonna get started. Our first, and each of our people is going to speak for a minute, each of our award winners. We're going to start with the Revolution Award. This is for Edna Chavez, who is now a college freshman. She's a social justice advocate. She is an activist. She's the March of Our Lives representative for the city of LA. Her work has been in South LA and in your very own backyard. So please welcome Voices of the Year, the Revolution Award winner, Edna Chavez.
I am a youth leader. I am a survivor. For decades, my community of South Los Angeles has become accustomed to this violence. We need to focus on changing the conditions that foster violence, and that's how we will transform our communities and uplift our voices. My brother, like many others, would have benefited from this. So let's make it happen.
Hi everyone, my name is Edna Chavez. I am now 18 years old. I am proud to be from South Central Los Angeles, California. And I'm also proud from being a daughter of undocumented parents from Guatemala. And who would have thought that nearly a year ago my whole life would have changed? That just a young Latina would have just, gotten an award for BlogHer or just being recognized by folks. So I'm really thankful for everybody that has supported not only me, but also every Black and brown person that has been moving forward and has been pushing for change in their communities. And I'm just really thankful. I'm really thankful. I'm really humbled by this, and thank you so much. Gracias por todo, and blessings, blessings, blessings. Bendiciones.
Next up, Amy Stanton, and we're going to look at the video. I forgot that part completely, which will show you what Amy has been up to for the past year, also hailing from LA. Amy's the co-author of The Feminine Revolution, 21 Ways to Ignite the Power of Your Femininity. It's a hard word to say. For a brighter life and a better world. She's also CEO of Stanton Company and has done amazing work with many, many women in terms of fostering and building their careers, their brands, their businesses. So let's look at Amy.
For me, it was always about helping amazing women create a platform for their messages. We as a group, as a collective, have so much power and can inspire each other and support each other. That's such a core belief for me and the business that I've built.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, BlogHer. It is such a huge honor to be here. First of all, I've been running a marketing and PR agency for the past 12 years, and I've been supporting so many amazing women. Only recently did I realize I actually have a voice. So it is really special to be receiving a Voices of the Year award because it means that I actually did something with my own voice. I never imagined writing a book. About 5 years ago, I started really wondering why I was out of balance, and it wasn't a work-life balance. It was I had lost touch with my femininity, and I was feeling like I developed these masculine qualities in the workplace to thrive in a man's world. So my assertiveness, my directness, these are really important qualities, by the way, and I still am very grateful for them. But I was sacrificing my sensitivity and my emotionality and even the fact that I cry easily, which are in some ways even more important parts of me. So I set out on this exploration and spoke to a lot of really amazing women about the same kinds of challenges and sometimes different challenges, where I realized in society, femininity is perceived as a weakness. Feminine qualities are perceived as weaknesses. So my co-author and I set out to set the world straight and say, actually, our emotionality is a superpower. Our sensitivity is part of what makes us our best. And so we hope you will all join the revolution. But I'm really grateful for this opportunity, so thank you.
Next, we have up the Courage Award to Jordyn Wieber, Olympian and activist, and now UCLA assistant coach, who's taking one of the best metaphors, I think, which is that sports teams, individual performance can lead to some of the best qualities and most effective leaders in the world, in my opinion. And as a young person living through some of the trauma that we all know has kind of rained down on gymnastics, Jordyn was one of those who stood up, who used her power for good, and we tip a lot of hats to her for that.
Going through something like training for the Olympics, I truly thought that would have been one of the most intense, one of the most difficult things I would ever have to deal with and go through. But honestly, processing the sexual abuse that many athletes have been through and what I personally have been through, this has been even more difficult. But being an advocate and fighting for these changes now here, it's put meaning to everything.
Thank you so much. I just want to, thank you. I want to quickly say thank you to BlogHer for this award. This is truly an honor for me, and it's really crazy to think back. It was almost exactly a year ago today that I stood at a podium just like this, except it wasn't on a stage, it was in a courtroom. And not only me, but hundreds of other women stood in that courtroom and gave victim impact speeches, and we were able to put one of the most prolific child sexual abusers in prison for life. And I chose to speak out for many reasons, but I know it might be true for a lot of sports, but in gymnastics we have had a very serious child abuse problem. And I started gymnastics at the age of 4, and the thought of all those little girls out there who want to be gymnasts and want to make the Olympics someday, it kills me to think that they would be competing in a sport that's not safe. And so that has fueled this fire in me to make the sport safer and to change that culture of winning at all costs and putting money and medals over the safety of young kids. So that, I think about, it's been a year since that day in the courtroom, and we have accomplished so much, not only as survivors of Larry Nassar's abuse, but as women across the world. So I'm very proud of all the other survivors, and honored to stand up here and think about all that we've accomplished in the past year and changing legislation and making changes in the sport of gymnastics too. So it's really exciting, and I just want to challenge you all and finish by saying, continue to listen and believe survivors, and use your voice too, because you can help. Thank you.
Next up is the CHANGEMAKER Award, which is being received by two brilliant women, one of whom is a documentarian, Amy Ziering, and has, among other things, produced, wrote, did other things regarding The Hunting Ground, which shone a light on campus rape. The Invisible War did much of the same for the military and is now taking on the medical device industry. But one of the cooler things is that when Amy, who's a friend, when I said we really want to honor you with this award, she was like, no, you have to honor Anna. It was the bravery of women like Anna who were deeply and sort of irreversibly hurt by the medical device industry. Those stories are what's going to actually make change, and the change that's happening right now is pretty profound. So we'll have Amy up first, CHANGEMAKER.
medical companies are responding this morning to a critical new documentary on the healthcare industry.
The system is flawed and it puts patients unnecessarily at risk. Technology that is so cutting edge that it's dangerous. We save lives with every viewing. It has information you simply can't get anywhere else.
Thank you, everybody. This is like amazing. It's a privilege to be here, a privilege in both senses of the word. As a white woman of comfortable economic means, I was afforded opportunities by accidents of birth that empowered me to have a voice. And with that voice comes responsibility. What kept going through my mind today when I was thinking about what to talk about was Gwyneth Paltrow. Because I remember when she first started talking about self-care and health, I thought, good Lord, if Gwyneth Paltrow needs help, what hope is there for any of us? And then I started thinking about it a different way, and I thought, well, if Gwyneth Paltrow needs help, what does that say about how toxic this culture is towards all women of all demographics? We need to pay attention to the ways our culture targets and pathologizes women to make us all, even dear Gwyneth, feel inadequate and ill. And how that exactly occurs is not a topic I can take up today. But suffice it to say, women's health is serious business, so thank you all for being here and taking it seriously. It's also big business, and our recent film, The Bleeding Edge, explores in depth the implications of the latter, exposing the ways in which corporations have in many respects hijacked our health care and put women unnecessarily, too often, our well-being at risk. Women are 51% of the population, and we differ from men on a cellular level. And yet, since Western medicine's inception and until very recently, male physiognomies have formed the baseline for product studies, product research, and product testing and development. Think about that. And even worse, thanks to our own internalized misogyny, to quote the amazing bell hooks, misogyny knows no gender, we ourselves, much more than men, are likely to not prioritize our health care, to minimize our symptoms, and distrust our own sense of our experiences. As one expert recently told me when I was making The Bleeding Edge, when men complained about a headache, the product was immediately pulled. When women did, they put it to market. So 2 pieces of wisdom I'll leave you with. If you get sick, please be your own advocate. Please do not doubt yourself. Do not let others doubt you. Do your own research and ask a lot of questions. And please know that a lot of the information you're getting on the web is corporate generated, so also look for the source of the knowledge and the pedigree and its genesis of the information you're getting. And the second is don't get sick. Self-care is the new black. It's all circling back to Gwyneth. Exercise, eat right, meditate, blog, take walks, stay offline. All that time you put in now doing those things will save you so much time and pain in the future. So it's simply not optional. Thank you all so much for this honor. All I've wanted to do with my life is make a lot of noise about things that matter, just like all of you. So I share this award with you and with all the women and men like Anna, who I'm about to bring up, who courageously spoke out against powerful corporations on our recent film, The Bleeding Edge. Not for personal gain or aggrandizement, but simply to help other people's lives. Thank you, Sam, for giving a platform to noisemakers like all of us and hearing the melodies in our shouts. You selflessly and graciously put your energies towards connecting and uplifting women. We are all indebted and grateful to you for your leadership. Thank you, Ana Fuentes, for your exemplary courage and heart. We're gonna show a clip in a minute. I'm gonna bring Anna up, but I'm just gonna finish my speech. And to all of you for being here and using your words to inform and uplift others. I share this award honestly with all of you. We're in it together. Now go out there and meditate. Thank you. So I'm bringing up Ana Fuentes. Ana, please come up.
My husband and I had decided that 4 kids was enough. My doctor recommended Esher. He said I shouldn't feel anything, just two little devices that I wouldn't even notice. They say that they don't cause any problems. They're not the ones suffering the consequences. If this will help bring awareness of women not doing e-share, not believing their doctors that e-share is the best. And if one life could be saved through this testimony, it's worth it.
Thank you, everyone. I am very thankful with God, first of all, for this opportunity, and thank you for this invitation. I think Angie Fermalino is the one that created eShare Group, which is the one that brought us all aware of this device. And I think she deserves this recognition more than I do, because she's the one that's moving up in everywhere. And Angie, if you ever see this, this is for you. I am a voice to the voiceless, because I know so many women that are going through this, are suffering, and a lot of Latina women like me that are not aware of this are there suffering too. A lot of them have come to me and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know those things were causing my problems. So I hope this will go through the Hispanic culture as well, because a lot of them don't really care about this. But this is why I'm here, because I want them to know that Bayer destroyed all of us. More than 30,000 women. I'm so sorry, I'm a little nervous. I also, on top of that, I want to share a little bit too that I'm a voice to the voiceless for the survivors of domestic violence. I am a survivor as well. My little sister was murdered 2 years ago by her boyfriend. And that brought me to bring awareness to more women, because I know a lot of us women suffer through domestic violence. Not many, but a lot do, and are scared to speak out. I just want to say, please come forward, save yourself. My sister couldn't save herself, but I am here as her voice to tell you, please save yourself. There's nothing worse than being beaten. Love shouldn't hurt like that. So that's my voice for all of you women out there, and for those that lost their lives. Please don't be the next one. Okay, thank you.
Anna has 4 beautiful girls here who are all healthy, happy future activists, if not already, who are clearly very impressed by their mom. And so some really kind of awesome things have come out of this collaboration between these women, each of whom has a different skill and different role to play in building awareness. And one other cool point about the film that Amy and Anna just put out, The Bleeding Edge, one more time. It's really a happy popcorn film. Watch it. It's a romantic comedy. Go on a date. But one great thing is that a lot of the women who, or maybe most of the women who got together and recognized this, that Bayer, B-A-Y-E-R, was making them sick, those women found each other online. They found each other through the power of the blog, the power of the Facebook group, and that's how they organized and ultimately made real impact. So it's pretty cool to see what the infowebs can do when they're not stealing elections. So that's the good web, not the bad web. So next up is kind of exciting for all of us. If anyone's from She Media in the room, get ready, get your hankies ready. The next winner is one of our very own. Many of you who speak on the stage or who work with us know Jenny Autumn. It was just about, it was less than a year ago that Jenny couldn't make a meeting and called me to say, I'm really sorry, I have this thing in my throat, it doesn't feel, I'm coughing a lot, I'm so sorry I'm coughing, people can't hear me. And then went to the doctor, probably canceled like 7 times to be at meetings with us, and then realized ultimately she had brain cancer. So, and was like, I'm so sorry, it's a bad time, I know, when she had to go and receive treatment, and stayed extremely involved always. She wouldn't let us stop sending her emails, even though that's not allowed when you're on short-term disability, and is already back, which is the coolest thing ever, back to full-time work. Not that that's like the goal alone. Mostly, as she said, she's really happy to be here, and she's really happy to be alive. So during Jenny's time out, she started a blog, a social platform called Ugly Linda, which the tumor's name was Linda. And during which she talked about the hard, the exhaustion, the happy, the funny, the relationships that spawned, the people who reached out to her and did this thing that I think so many women do, especially in health, which is take a story of tragedy or really great challenges, suffering, and decide that, like, I bet I could do something positive with this. I bet I could create a place for other people to connect with one another and know they're not alone. So it's pretty cool when someone from your own company does that thing you preach about all the time. So Jenny Autumn is our next. What's specific? You are our Fearless Award.
Just first of all, thank you to everybody from She Media, from BlogHer. I couldn't have made it through the way that I did without the support of an amazing company, and I think that says a lot about this company that I work for. They supported me all the way through it, but it was definitely a dark time. There were dark days, but I wanted to document what was happening. It was a very rare but very aggressive form of lymphoma that I had, and I knew that if I responded well to the chemo, I was gonna make it, and if I didn't, I might not. So I started a blog to kind of track everything. There's not a lot of information out there about this type of cancer, so I wanted to create a resource that I could have for myself, but also for anybody else who might have this cancer as well. It ended up being one of the most amazing things I did for myself, to be able to document that, to write for myself. I do a lot of press releases and writing about other people, but it was the first time that I did that for myself, and I definitely plan to continue, because I definitely think there's a lot of power in the social platforms and to be able to connect with the community. So thank you all. Thank you.
You crushed that, Jenny. Jenny usually writes our scripts, just like Amy, who usually makes other women famous. So that's pretty badass. Okay, so next up is Melanie Santos, who is an incredibly connective, emotionally resonant creator. If you look up MelanieSantos.com, look at her social platforms, you'll see, I think, it's one of those wonderful talents of content creation that you're not quite sure where to characterize it, but it's a lifestyle that she brings you into that can be very inspiring, soothing, empowering. And so for all those reasons, we are giving Melanie the Advocacy Award.
I have dedicated my life to breaking the stigma and breaking the barriers that keep mind, body, soul health suppressed amongst communities of color. Creating a life that you love and living a life that you love, whether you battle with anxiety and depression like I do, it's possible. Everything that I put together, everything that I speak, every step that I take is an intentional one. It still and will always stand as a testament of my journey to my best self, because it's super important for me to be who I needed when I was younger.
I don't want to ugly cry. Hi, everyone. I just want to say, as an intuitive and an empath, there's a lot of amazing energy in this room, so just like hug yourselves and keep loving. Really, really nice. I'm deeply humbled and honored to stand here besides so many powerful women in this room full of brimming souls, two of which are my husband and my daughter over there. I started blogging when blogging wasn't cool. Nobody knew what a blog was, nobody wanted to follow me, nobody wanted to read my stuff. But I wrote and I shared the things that I loved and I shared the things that I didn't love. I shared mental illness, heartbreak, oppression, fear. 5 years and 2 corporate communications jobs later, I'm proud to say that I make a living doing something that many of us have in common, being exactly who I needed when I was younger. A lost, confused little girl from uptown Manhattan. Specifically, today I have the honor of empowering women of color to break barriers on their journey, to guide them through their darkness to find their light, and redefine wellness in the age of flat tummy tea and love and light. Right? By the way, I'm happy to report that my immigrant parents did not totally freak out when I told them I was quitting my corporate career to follow my dreams. The very American thing to do, so thank you, Mommy and Papi, who are watching this right now. In 2019, my hope is that content creators and change makers like us continue to blast love and, most importantly, honesty into the wellness world. The internet needs less pretty curation and colors and sparkles and more vulnerability, especially during vulnerable times like this. And for women as a whole, my hope is that we continue to ascend higher and higher, that we pop the mani-pedi self-care bubble, and that we care for ourselves through sisterhood, through forgiveness, therapy, and not being sorry about setting boundaries. And most importantly, that we love ourselves deeply as we collectively remember who the hell we are. Goddesses, unapologetic about our shine while on our unique divine paths. Thank you so much.
All right, amazing. I'm definitely taking notes. And it's pretty fair to say, like, that tummy tea thing and Bear are not going to sponsor our show. They are not going to be our sponsors ever. Okay, so next up, our Impact Award. I don't know, many of you guys might not yet know Corey Ray. You probably will soon. She's a transgender activist, model, and writer, and is a striking force.
Okay, Corey, it's not polite. You just say thank you.
I don't see boundaries like other people do. I don't care.
Hi everyone. Wow, that was awesome. Thank you. This is like my first big award, so it's an awesome moment for me. Yeah. That video is interesting. The clip there is when I was about 3 years old. It was Hanukkah, and I really wanted Barbies, and my mom had started to give them to me already, but my grandparents sought advice and were told to introduce me to what we call boy toys, and I said I didn't want that. And from then on, I've used my voice to always say what I do and don't want. And I luckily had a mother who didn't ever silence me, but elevated my voice and supported me and loved me unconditionally, as a mother should do. So from that day on, she really set the pace for me and how I could use my voice to get what I wanted and to express myself freely. And I did so. I transitioned at the age of 15. I was a junior, a late bloomer, and a junior in high school. And after 7 months of slowly growing my hair out and wearing my mom's clothes, I won and became the world's first transgender prom queen. But after that, and due to passing privilege, I was able to live as a normal woman, and I hid the fact that I was transgender for the next 5 years. And I lived a double life in secret. I went on to have surgery at the age of 19 and in college, and then went and studied abroad at the University of Amsterdam and got a minor in the sociology of gender and sexuality, which is the first time I had really learned about the history of my community. And as someone who had been already done with the transition phase and felt I was already complete, it was really cool to know that there were people before me, without having social media, who have done what I've done and have paved the way for me. And I am incredibly honored to be here today. This is really cool. I ran away from using my voice for 5 years, and after the Orlando shooting in 2016, I had had enough. So I made a blog post. I called it "Allow Me to Reintroduce Myself," and I posted it to Facebook. And overnight, I became an activist and a writer for a community I hadn't even really identified with. But the world had seen me as a transgender woman, and I have since been writing about and blogging about my experience as a transgender woman in modern day and redefining what that means. And we do everything every other woman can, right? So, like accepting awards. And I realized that it's so important to stay with your voice. And although I didn't have myself when I was younger, I am really, really honored to be that person for so many transgender people to come and who are already here and who are realizing themselves. And that's really cool. And I'm just really, really excited to be a leader in this transgender revolution that we're, going through right now, especially this week. And I'm looking forward to making an impact for the rest of my life. So thank you. And thank you to my mom and my friends and family and She Media.
I love how much the moms are being featured. Okay, so that was also really nice to see how so many women who we serve in this community see a problem, see a role that they didn't have for themselves as little girls and decide they're going to be brave enough to take that role on, which is, so our final VOTY, Voice of the Year, is to the epic, legendary, amazing, kind of hard to describe, the Leadership Award to Asia Brown, who is the two-time mayor of Compton, youngest and I believe a 2028 lookout contender for a very big job. So let's welcome Asia.
When people think of Compton, they think of violence. I knew that in order for Compton to have an opportunity to transform and to recover, that we needed a great leader. And so I decided that I would run for mayor. I would love for my legacy to be that I truly was able to restore hope.
Good evening, Power Women. I am so honored to be here, and Samantha, thank you for recognizing my service in my community. And I just want to encourage all of the women here that have a desire to affect change to don't wait for someone to show up. It's probably you that we're waiting for. And if you feel that your voice isn't big enough, if you feel that maybe you're not equipped, if you feel the list goes on. I know that sometimes we as women can talk ourselves out of a lot of things, but I just want to encourage you that you are enough, you are prepared, you are what we need. The future is brighter when women step up and step out, and it's been an amazing journey for me. It's been no greater honor to really serve my community and to really extend my heart, my years, my love, and it's just been really a beautiful, beautiful journey. And I just want to acknowledge my family that I have here today. My daughter is here, my little baby girl that I just had about 4 months ago, and my husband, my best friend, and doing good. And but I'm really honored by this award, and I just want to salute you for creating this space for women to come together. And lastly, we as women, we have our own little communities, and it's really easy to, especially in the age of social media, to feel that we're extending love by pressing the like button, or to feel that we are supporting one another by sharing a post. But I just want to encourage us to stay connected, and to have forums like this is a really great way for us to connect and to focus on how we can really support one another in ways that are really beneficial for everyone. And I think that it's always great to self-reflect. I'm a self-reflector, and so every year I think about what I'd like to achieve, things that I may not have, and things that I can do better. And I just want to encourage all of us to really be the women that we portray ourselves to be, especially on social media. So if you're going to support your girls, support them, show up. And I just want to thank you guys for just allowing me to spend a little bit of time with you. And I just encourage all of you to keep affecting change, keep holding the line. Don't be complicit in not saying what needs to be said. And sometimes all it takes is your voice. And so I look forward to a bright future. I know that the future is going to be brighter for my little baby girl, because there are women that continue to defy the odds. And so thank you guys so very much. Take care.
Thank you so much, everybody, for being here and for honoring these women. Every year we do this, and it doesn't work without the community's support and participation, and your thanks to these women and your continued advocacy for them. When you find the voice that you think deserves to be amplified, that you think warrants more visibility. That's like my favorite thing to do, is when you find someone who's so amazing that you think, I know so many women who would benefit from being exposed to this thinking or this art or this point of view, this personal story. And we do at BlogHer endeavor to be together in real person as a community as often as we can. This is our breakout to 2019 BlogHer Health Voices of the Year Awards. I hope we will all track these women and see so much amazing magic from them in years to come. So thank you all for being here.